Mind reading present. What kills long-distance relationships? 7 serious problems. Challenges may arise in any relationship. However, things can get even more complicated when you're both separated by a great distance, and FaceTime and messaging are the only means of day-to-day communication. However, what can destroy a long-distance relationship? When we fall in love with someone, we usually don't plan to meet him or her several times a year and communicate with him only by phone. We all crave direct contact, where we can look each other in the eye directly. We all want the opportunity to hug our partner and hold his or her hand. The importance of physical relationships is indescribable, but still, long-distance relationships don't have this part. If you can only see your partner a few times a year, you should figure out how to make your relationship work without physical proximity. Long-distance relationships prioritize love and commitment above all else, which is why many people can't survive in long-distance relationships. However, how difficult is it to be in a relationship with someone you can't meet every day? And what are some things that can damage this relationship? You'll find out soon. What damages a long-distance relationship? We would say that long-distance relationships are much more complicated in the sense that they are easier to break. The growing distance between partners can make them feel alone, even though they are emotionally attached to someone. When you can't see your partner every day, weekly, or even monthly, all the problems you face will be 10 times more detrimental to your relationship. That is why small disputes can easily lead to breakups, because the two of you cannot sit together and talk well. So, not only is it difficult to face the fact that your partner is just one plane away from you, but you also have to deal with all the other consequences that come with a long-distance relationship. When you want to hug your partner but know it's impossible, there's hardly anything that can brighten your mood. However, what are some of the main problems that can make your relationship fall apart? What can destroy a long-distance relationship in seconds? Here's the truth. Number 1. Active and off-active communication. In long-distance relationships, communication is very important. We can say that communication is the most important thing that can easily make or break your relationship. Since the two of you don't have a chance to meet in person, all communication will be virtual. That's why it's so important to stay in touch regularly. This can be difficult to maintain, especially if you live in a different time zone. Couples who live far away can have a hard time finding the right time to FaceTime and relax. They usually text during the day, but this is not enough because they need to hear each other's voices, at least through phone calls. Well, when you start looking for excuses not to talk to each other, you're off to a bad start. When one of you breaks off regular communication, the foundation of your relationship will be shaken. It's hard enough to feel physically distant from your partner. However, if you add the fact that you don't hear from each other very often, things get more complicated. Number 2. Insecurity and lack of trust. Insecurity often leads to trust issues, and once trust is shaken, your relationship will start to suffer. So, the worst thing you can do is to try to ignore your feelings and pretend everything is fine, when in fact, you hold a grudge against your partner. In this case, you should explain to your partner about how you feel and what makes you doubt your relationship. You both need to build a solid foundation that will allow your relationship to flourish. Without trust, you will immediately doubt every little thing about your partner. When you realize that insecurities are building up and your relationship is starting to deteriorate, you have to react and do something to change it. Think about the reasons why you feel that way. Is there something your partner is doing that bothers you? And what can he do to make you feel more peaceful? Number 3. Lack of commitment. Let's be honest, no relationship will succeed without commitment. However, when we talk about long-distance relationships, commitment comes in many forms. In this case, committing means having regular conversations with your partner. That is, trust each other completely and survive the bad days when things don't seem to be going well. It's also about keeping your end goal in mind and taking the necessary steps to achieve it. When you or your partner forget the importance of commitment, your relationship will start to fall apart. In a matter of days, your relationship will lose the spark that you've been trying to keep alive. Number 4. Different expectations. Different expectations are silent killers in any relationship, especially long-distance relationships. That's why it's so important for you and your partner to have the same view. At the beginning of the relationship, talk about the things you expect from your partner. How often do you think you should hear from each other? What are the plans to visit each other? What are the things you can't accept? This is all important information that you should both know. That way, you'll be able to find out if your relationship is going well. However, if you've already talked to your partner about relationship expectations and still, those needs aren't being met, know that your problems will start to pile up. In no time, you'll start recording scores, and that's when your relationship will inevitably fall apart. Number 5. Feeling of abandonment. Another thing that damages long-distance relationships that no one talks about is the feeling of being left out. The feeling that your partner is living his life away from you, having fun, meeting new friends, and going through everyday situations without you being by his or her side. Long-distance couples tend not to talk much about this, but at some point, they all start to feel like they're missing something. They feel their partner is enjoying the best moments of their lives when they are away from them. Be honest. How often do you experience this sudden feeling of sadness because you can't celebrate your partner's birthday with him? How often do you feel jealous that he is partying without you? Have you ever felt miserable because you couldn't congratulate him on his promotion in person? When you're in a long-distance relationship, you're living a life apart from your partner. Even though communication is still established, you still feel like you can't share important moments together. You can't create shared memories that often strengthen relationships. When this feeling of neglect begins to appear, your long-distance relationship will go into crisis. And when that happens, there's a chance that everything will fall apart before your eyes. Number 6. Lack of plans for the future. The only thing that motivates you to fight for your relationship is the future plans you make with your partner. Once you stop setting goals, your relationship will inevitably fall apart. You both need to know what your plans are for the future. You certainly don't want to spend the rest of your life living apart. There must be an end goal that you want to achieve. That is why you put all your efforts into this relationship. Couples who put off these serious talks and don't have a plan for what life they want to be like are the ones who won't work out. Sooner or later, their relationship will fall apart simply because they don't feel the need to exert energy and fight for each other. Don't let this happen to you. If you're in a long-distance relationship, talk honestly with your partner about what kind of life you want to have. If you realize that he doesn't want to talk about it, don't expect much from him. Number 7. Infidelity. While this is obvious, we still need to mention it. The main reason is that couples in long-distance relationships should explain from the beginning what infidelity means to them. Is it considered cheating if one of you meets someone else and doesn't mention it to that person? Or cheating is only done physically? In addition, what makes it more difficult is the fact that you are far away from your partner. Sometimes, you may even forget that you're in a relationship because you've never met each other. There are a lot of temptations that you have to deal with, and it can be difficult if you can't meet your partner in person. But the truth is that if you commit to your partner, you won't risk losing them. Instead, you will avoid all temptations and set your sights on one person who means something to you. The only person you love, even if they're miles away. If you want to strengthen your long-distance relationship, like this video and subscribe for more tips on overcoming LDR challenges, keeping the love alive, and building strong connections.